All right, to quote Tom Izzo, checking, texting, ladies and gentlemen, texting 2022. We don't talk anymore, we just text. Welcome back to IDD, for you in the know, the user not in the know. We are doing, this is I Don't Disagree, the non-competitive banter, sports talk show, banter about, with usually it's two bitter ex-athletes. Well, we've got a new one today. Okay, this is a very good friend of mine, a brother from a not-so-adjacent mother. This is Sean Darcy, who is a lieutenant in the Quincy Fire Department. Lifelong diehard Patriots football. It's diehard day. Because we started with a diehard Cowboy fan, we went to a diehard Steelers fan. We are closing with the creme de la creme. Okay, for those of you scoring at home, that is 17 Super Bowl championships you are talking about today, or the experience. So this is Sean Darcy. He is a dear friend of mine. He has been watching the show since its inception, and I'm up here on vacation. We are in lovely Falmouth, for those of you who didn't catch us earlier, on the Cape, the heart of the Cape. This is the heart of the Cape. And Sean, being the friend that he is, hasn't seen me, drove down after work. We worked till 5 o'clock today, right?
I did a 36-hour shift.
36-hour shift. That's dedication, ladies and gentlemen. Keeping the good people up there in Quincy safe. And then he goes home, grabs the wife, gets on the highway, comes down to the Cape on a Saturday. Not the easiest thing to do. To get down here, come see me, come see you, and talk football, because football is back. Okay, and since we are in the heart of Patriot Nation, I had to get one of their most loyal diehard representatives here today to discuss Patriots football. So we're going to talk about a couple things tonight. We're going to go into Mac Jones. Mac had a great rookie season.
Mac attack.
I think he exceeded some expectations. I thought he was going to be good because he came from a big-time program at Bama, and he went right in and just made a smooth transition, and he's looking, and for by all accounts, Sean has probably heard this, he's come back in shape, he's changed his diet, he's lost some of the baby fat, and from all the veterans up there, Andrews, McCourty, they're saying he's really jumped into this leadership role in year 2, which long-term bodes very well for the franchise. And this kid is here to win. He's a winner. He's been in big games since he got to college, because he plays in the SEC. So Sean and I are going to start with that tonight. And Sean, I want to dive right into this. You got to see Mac up close last year, rookie year. Didn't play like a rookie for a lot of it, which is a good sign. What are your thoughts on his first season? How do you think he did? What are your expectations for him in year 2?
Well, I do have to say I thought he had a great first season. First of all, I do want to say I'm thrilled and honored to be on IDD. Big fan from the inception.
Yes.
And like I said, my brother from another mother.
Yep.
Very happy to be here talking football with RJ.
Yep.
So, where Mac went last year, obviously big shoes to fill. I'm not talking about Cam Newton shoes. We're going to talk about Tom Brady's shoes. And, we can only do what you can do. Tom Brady, greatest athlete I think that has ever strapped on anything that ever,
fair to say,
pair of cleats anyway.
Jesus in cleats, somebody called him recently.
That's it.
Jesus in cleats.
But I think Mac did really good for his first year. He had some stumbling points here and there, but you know what? We pulled out an 11-win season, went to the playoffs, Patriots back in the playoffs, one and done. So it was what it was. It was a transition year, but it wasn't a transition year where we went 500. No. We had a winning record, so he had that experience coming out of Bama. He definitely played in front of bigger crowds in Bama than he's seen in Foxborough or all through the NFL. I mean, Bama's almost 100,000 stadium.
It is, That's a cathedral down there, yes. Yeah.
So he was well prepared to come into the NFL, and I think he had an outstanding rookie season. Didn't get selected to the Pro Bowl, but still was able to go there on a coach's selection.
Yeah.
He was an alternate, still not listed as a Pro Bowl year, but he still got that experience. He got the full NFL experience throughout the whole year. Yeah. And I think he got a lot of people to say, this guy, he's had some potential. And I like what I'm hearing. Like you said, by all accounts, you said he's coming in great shape. They said he's put on, about 15 pounds of muscle.
That was big.
And I think he's getting himself ready for his sophomore season. I do not think we're going to see a sophomore slump. No. I think we're going to see good things from Mac. I think he's ready for it. Very much a perfectionist. He's a very serious guy. So the sports writers up here don't like him because they're not getting much sound bites from him at all.
Who does that remind you of? And I mean that in a good way, because I like that he's like that.
Yes.
I like that he's like that. I do.
They can't get him to crack. There's no chink in the armor there. They can't get him to bite on anything.
Yeah.
He's a very serious guy, and he's very much a perfectionist. So
Yes.
I'm looking for big things from Mac this year, and I'm really hoping it's going to happen.
Yeah, he just to your point, I mean, he got thrown into the fire. You know, Sean has been around these parts as long as I have, and has seen. We've been very fortunate, as he will agree, to see some all-time great athletes in this region. And the hardest thing to do is to replace a legend. And I remember when Bird retired, it took Boston 22 years to get back to the top. Bobby Orr, when we were both, I wasn't even born yet. All I did was hear about Bobby Orr my entire childhood. It was 38 years for the Bruins broke through, and we were actually together when that happened.
In
Up in Point Sebago in Maine.
Yes.
But I think that was our curse, because the thing about the Red Sox is we missed most of that. So I mean, when the Bruins, that was kind of our curse. They won the year before I was born. I never saw them win. And the Red Sox broke through in 04 and then they've won 4 World Series in this century. So they've been awesome. So so we were together when that happened. But now Tom Brady comes along, changes everything, and then when he walks away, you're like, oh Christ, now what? And, but this Mac Jones kid, there's a few things different about him, to Sean's point. He is a perfectionist, first and foremost. To Sean's point, this dude completed 67% of his passes as a rookie. Okay, that's not a rookie number. Okay,
and let's say he did 67% of his passes without an all-star receiving corps.
Not one Pro Bowler.
No,
not one.
So he's making people better than what they are on paper.
Yeah, I mean, they went out. We remember the spending spree that Belichick went on with a scorched earth. I think he dropped $156 million in 72 hours.
Yeah,
which is an NFL record. Okay, and most of that was on offense. Hunter Henry's probably been the best result of that as a receiver in terms of the year he had. I think you'd agree with that.
He was just named the 10th best tight end in the league.
So he's top 10. The other guy we're going to talk about, and I wanted your thoughts on this, but we'll get into him in a minute. But Mac, I'd say he had, they've got some good weapons on the outside. They brought the kid in from Miami, who looks like this divine. If he can stay healthy, he looks like a ball player. And this is year 2. So technically speaking, these guys have been together for a year. A lot of them came in last year together, because a lot of them, it was their first year in the offense, like Mac Jones. Yep. So they're kind of growing up together here, which I like. And year 2, technically like that, it's usually better than year 1. Yeah. So I agree with Sean on that I think they're going to be better this year, I think. Now here's the funny part. And this is my fault, because this is where karma bites you in the ass. This guy could write a book on how I feel, because I give him credit for remaining my friend for some of the shit he has to listen to. But he could probably write a book on RJ's perception of Josh McDaniels, and what RJ would do if he could get his hands on Josh's neck, and all this other crap. He'd probably have chapters on this shit. And the problem is, as bad as Josh was, you got to be careful what you wish for. Because here's the thing. We don't know. They floated 2 names, right? They floated 2 names.
If there's one person that RJ has a problem with more than Josh McDaniels, it is the rocket scientist,
Bill Belichick.
Oh, I thought it was the rocket scientist that we brought in.
Oh, you mean Matt Patricia? Mm. Oh, yeah, he's worse. Yeah, he's worse. So this is, and I agree with everything he said, and the thing is, and 2 things can be true. The thing that I'm hoping for is that when you have that continuity, they've been together for a year, and they got better as the year went on. So now they've had a year in the system. The question is the system going to change? Is the system going to be tweaked? What are they going to do with this system? Because to me, there should be an ascending level here. None of these guys, by the way, on the outside are in their prime yet. They're all young. They're entering their prime in the next 1 to 2 years. So they should peak or start to peak this year. But we don't know what this offense is going to look like, because we don't know who's calling the plays. They floated Matt Patricia. I mean, he didn't hear me. He wasn't in the room when I said this. But I told my partner in crime, Tom Izzo, I said, I think I wish Josh was back.
So, all right, we're getting into who's going to be calling the plays.
Yes.
I have a theory on what's going to go on here.
Please.
And it's a little outside the box.
I would welcome outside the box.
And I think what you're kind of seeing here is, obviously we've gone now, is this our second year in a row without any coordinators officially named. They just came out with their coaching staff, and we do not have an offensive nor a defensive coordinator.
Well, Josh last year was calling the plays, though. right? We knew Josh was the. We knew Josh. Was
I'm
the
sorry. Last year they had a.
We knew him. We knew what defense was
They
doing.
did not have a defensive.
There was defense. Yes.
Now this year we do not have a defense or an offensive coordinator.
No, we don't.
But what we have is Brian Hoyer. Brian Hoyer is back in a quote-unquote backup quarterback role.
Yeah, he's on the roster. The active roster. Yes.
And I'm sure the amount of money they're paying him as a quote-unquote backup quarterback is not the amount of money they would have to pay an offensive coordinator. So I think you're getting, this is a Belichickian move here. You're getting two for the price of one right here. You've got a proven NFL backup quarterback.
Yes.
You know, nobody wants to see him start.
No.
We don't want to go down that road. But if you need somebody to come in on a pinch, he knows the offense better than anybody on that team. He's probably been there. He's probably the most senior Patriot right now in the whole house.
I think you're right. Him and Devin McCourty, I think.
But
those two.
What he is a great quarterback coach, and he knows these plays. I think you're going to see Matt Patricia concentrate more on the offensive line and probably get into a little bit in the backfield, maybe with a fullback situation. But where I think you're going to see a lot of the play calling come from is going to be Brian Hoyer, because I think Brian Hoyer is going to start doing more mentoring with Mac Jones, which Mac said that Brian was a great mentor to him last year. And what this is going to do eventually is I think you're going to see now this is going to transition Brian Hoyer into the second part of his NFL career, because I think he's going to then transition into coaching. But I think he's already making that transition as a player coach already without the title. So that's where I think you're going to see a lot of the offensive play calling come from, is you're going to come from Brian Hoyer, working in conjunction with, Matt Patricia and Bill Belichick in conjunction. But
didn't they float Joe Judge too?
But Judge, I believe, is going to be more on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, that's where he made his bones.
Yeah, so
that's why this didn't make sense to me.
So I think you're going to have Bill is going to be sitting on the top of the thing.
Yeah,
he is going to be like the patriarch.
Yeah, like he usually is. Yeah,
and then you're going to see this descending flow going down across. And he's going to have his hand in the defense. He's going to have his hand in the offense. And he's just going to look over these people. But I think you're going to see Joe Judge is going to do a lot of work on the defense. I'm not sold on the mullet Belichick yet. I'm just not sold on him. But
you and I are in agreement.
He is taking a bigger leadership role on the defensive side of the ball. We'll have to see what's going to happen. But what I think you're going to see, I'm not sure about Patricia right now, but I think what you're going to see with Joe Judge, I believe he's a good coach, and I just think he was overwhelmed at having to take care of everything
in New York.
As the head coach. Because when you're the head coach, there's so much more than just coaching.
Oh, it's everything.
Now he just gets to be a coach. He's not even labeled as a defensive coordinator. He is just a different coach on the staff. So he has his specific jobs. I think you're going to see him thrive without having to deal with all the media. He doesn't have to go to the press conferences. He doesn't have to do all this stuff. All he's going to have to do is coach. I think you're going to see that there. I think you're going to see Brian Hoyer working with Mac Jones to do a lot of work on the offense. I'm looking for good things. And one other thing, and I know you're about to say that, but you almost forgot.
Go ahead.
Talk about gaining by losing. We are out from underneath N'Keal Harry.
Oh, God. We don't even.
See ya!
All right, I was trying to keep this positive, but he's not going to allow me to do that.
That is positive.
No, that is positive.
That's a huge
That
positive.
is positive. That runs really deep with me for other reasons. But, yes, addition by subtraction. Now, he was one of the biggest busts I've seen, probably you've seen, in a long time. And what's frustrating about that is that the players that went after him that we could have had, DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf was Randy Moss, but thicker. Okay, we could have had AJ Brown, who was a star at Tennessee. We could have had either of these two, and I'm not going to go into the repercussions of that. But yes, Harry is gone. They brought in the kid from Miami, who, when he was healthy, he had 1,100-yard season. So he's got the goods. He's got to stay on the field. If that kid stays on the field, now they've got a bunch, and this is the thing, the Patriots, what I like about what they do is they pride themselves on depth. They build their roster from 15 to 45. They don't build it from 1 to 20, like a lot of these teams do. So the reason the Patriots have always stayed afloat on the fact that Tom Brady was the quarterback was when somebody went down, a frontline starter went down, they had the depth. Next man up. They could do it because they build 15 to 45, because they understand, as Sean understands, he played the sport too, football's a game of attrition. Okay, there's going to be injuries. You just don't know who it's going to be, and you don't know what's going to happen. And you've got to be prepared for that thing. And that's one of the things I've always given Belichick credit for. He builds the roster from 15 through 45. If that means he has to sacrifice a top 10 player, if it's going to make them better down the end of the bench, then so be it, because there's a good chance that guy might get hurt anyway. And if you don't do it that way, he gets hurt, you're done. And how many times have we seen that in our lifetime? With not just, but every team that builds it like that. So that's why I give him credit for that.
Gronkowski.
Well, yeah.
How many times did he go off?
Oh, God.
Julian Edelman,
Yeah.
he blew out his knee.
Yeah.
Tom Brady.
Yeah.
You know, that was
the whole year.
That was the emergence of Matt Castle, who, you know, after he left the Pats.
Yeah. But he went 11-5 when he was here.
He did.
So they were still able to be competitive when Tom Brady went down. Okay, but the point is because they build their roster that way. So what I'm hoping for is, and this is the enigma. Here's the question for me.
You are an enigma.
Well, I'm a walking enigma. That's beside. I mean, that's just me. I mean, look at. Anyway, I wore this T-shirt for you, by the way. But anyway, the thing is, Jonnu Smith to me is the wild card. If you have seen this man up close, which I have seen him up close, this dude is a fucking specimen. Pardon my Italian. Okay, he is literally, and this is where I got mad at Josh McDaniels, because there are times, and you'll back me up on this, where you have to get complicated, we have to get calculated, we have to do things a certain way, you have to overcome certain things. But if you got the best player at that position, okay, you don't got to overcomplicate it. If you have the physically more talented player, you don't got to overcomplicate it. You don't got to run bubble screens with Jonnu Smith.
Just let him play.
Let him play. Just let him play. Get him in space. Throw the ball down the field. Make them match up. The Pigs have an excellent running game, right? So they can play action pass. They can get this guy in the seam on a linebacker, on a safety. Either one of those battles, he wins 99 times out of 100. Get him in space. Get him down the field where he can make plays. Because if that kid plays his potential, and you got him and Harry as this double monster, which the last time they had was Gronkowski and Hernandez, and that year they went to the damn Super Bowl. Okay, if Gronk didn't get hurt, they would have probably won the damn thing because he was playing on one leg. Okay, but the bottom line is you can have that again with these two, but you just got to simplify it. And Josh McDaniels, my problem with him, he was always overthinking. He would always overthink it, and when you got the best players, you don't got it. When Randy Moss was here, did the Patriots overthink it? No. They would call a play. Brady would look at him and go, if it's man, if it's this, and that was it.
What would Randy do?
Yeah, he put the hand up. And Jonnu Smith is that kind of talent from a tight end's perspective. How on earth, and again, what I'm hoping is, because you've heard Belichick say this, we don't ask our players to do things that they don't do well. We ask them to do what they do well, and we put them in a position to succeed. My hope is, now that Josh is gone, they simplify this. Because they have the talent where they can do that. They have the running game. They have multiple tight ends. They got 4 or 5 guys on the outside that can win consistently their matchups. You don't got to overcomplicate this. You got to spread them out and make them cover the whole field. And Mac Jones has proven, as you have seen, he can read defenses. He's got a good strong arm. Okay, he can lead a receiver into a catch. He can protect his receivers like Brady. He won't get him hurt. He won't throw him into a situation where the safety's going to take his head off. He's not going to do that kind of shit. Okay, and they have 2 good, very good running backs. So they can have balance and they can do a multitude of things. But with Jonnu Smith, Sean, they got to simplify this thing. Yeah. They really do.
The other thing though too is, and I think they got to solidify the offensive line.
They lost shit. They gave them to Tampa Bay. They got to stop giving Tampa Bay fucking shit. Okay, I'm sick of it.
We got to solidify our offensive line, but we have some couple really great players on defense but we need the defense to step up. Like the early part of our dynasty, the first 3 Super Bowls that we won. Yeah. Tom was great, but he was still coming into the league, and we won those 3 Super Bowls off of our outstanding defense.
They had veteran defense,
and
that can do a lot of things.
The one guy that stands out to me right now that I'm just so excited, he's got me more excited, just as excited on the defensive side that Mac Jones has me excited on the offensive side.
Please tell me it's a kid from Alabama.
Who are you thinking?
Say his name.
You say his name.
Bob, the big defensive lineman.
Him too, but Matthew Judon.
Oh, him. Oh, yeah, he's a kid.
Matthew Judon.
He was a Pro Bowler last year. He's a kid. I love him. Yeah, he's a kid. He's a kid.
Was fantastic with his wrist sleeves and everything.
Yeah, he's fantastic. And they knew about him that's why they went after him. Because he's got the goods, and Belichick knows how to use him. The kid that I'm excited about is the kid from Alabama, the other kid who was drafted. He's a Xavier Barham with this big 300-pound defense who you can move around the line, who can win one-on-one consistently. He got hurt last year. They missed him.
Where is he? He's a tackle, right?
Technically, he's listed as a defensive tackle, but he can also rush off the edge. They can move him around. He's versatile, and he's big, and he's mean, okay? And he one-on-one, he wins. Like, he consistently wins. He forces your offensive line to double-team him. You have to double-team him.
Speaking of large defensive-minded people, slightly offside, look what we're talking about right here, but I'm hearing on the free agent market,
yes.
Tampa Bay might be not looking to re-sign Ndamukong Suh. Now, is he too far past his prime, or is he just gritty and mean enough to come in under Belichick as an experienced veteran and show these guys how to play the game mean, nasty, and dirty on the defensive side? I'm going to go on record in saying, not for the long term, but maybe 1-2 seasons, I think I'd like to see Ndamukong Suh here. And
so Tampa has not re-signed him?
No.
Yet?
Not
right?
yet.
Okay.
And
okay.
He is that Belichickian veteran presence that he has successfully pulled in the past. I would like to see that. Early in his career, I would not want to have anything to do with this guy. He was completely out of control.
Yes, he was.
But at this point right now, I
yeah.
think he could come in as a veteran, knows how to win, has won a Super Bowl, is a mean, nasty player. That
do you know how old he is? Do you know do you know if he's 32? Do you know what he is?
No, I do not know his actual age. I believe he's in the 32 to 36
I think he's
range.
around. He's not that old. I think he's past 34. I think he's 32 or 33, somewhere like that, I think. What I would say to that is this: that's a Belichick type of move. He did it. Remember the big kid tackle Washington? He brought him in at the end, and they solidified the line. They won a Super Bowl with it. It was Ted Washington. Remember Big Ted Washington?
Yeah.
He was him. He's not quite as big as him, but he's big and he's mean. And what I would say to you is this: depending on what his price tag is, 2 years would make sense. You put him next to Barmore, you got Judon behind him, and you got some other young, talented linemen. Yeah, that would make sense. That's a Belichick type of move. If that were going to happen, it would probably happen in the second or third week of training camp if you want to get him in, because all he's got to do is put his hand down. He can two-gap. But the problem is a base defense now is a nickel because of this passing assist offense. This is a passing league now. So when you and I were growing up, a base defense was a 4-3 or a 5-2 or a 3-4. Now it's a dime or a nickel. Okay. He still has a place in there because he can put his hand down and he can attack the gap and win that battle. He still does that when he's healthy. You put him next to this kid, Barmore, who I think is a beast, and he was until he got hurt. I think that one of the biggest reasons they suffered in the playoffs, they lost that inside pass rush.
Sure.
This kid, you can't give Josh Allen that kind of time. And they didn't have anything up the middle when that kid went out. So he's back out. You get Suh in there with him, to your point, and you could have a problem. If you could have a serious problem. The question is his price tag. What's he going to be asking for? I agree with you. What is he going to be asking for?
He's probably going to be up there, but it's not going to be like he's a major free agent and he's going to break the bank. Yeah. This is going to be the end of his career, and he's going to look to see what he can cash in on the end. But you brought something up when you mentioned Josh Allen. What we've seen recently, the past 5 years or so, the quarterback now is become the best athlete on the field.
Yes.
There was a period of time during the late 80s through the 90s where that quarterback, they were always great athletes, but they were, take six steps back, drop back, have a pocket clock, come around them and chuck the ball. Yep. Now these guys are not that. These guys are the best athletes on the field.
A lot of times they are.
And unfortunately right now, our defense is not set up to stop these guys.
This is the problem. Because the offense can be better, but the defense might be worse. Here's my thing, and you tell me what you think about this. In a passing league, the two most important positions on defense are edge rusher and cornerback, if you think about it, okay? You can move Barlow up and down the line, you've got Judon. You've got that part taken care of. They had not one, they had two number one corners 12 months ago. They gave them away for basically nothing, and they didn't replace them. Now, I understand the Gilmore thing because you didn't want to overpay him, but you had the other kid, Jay, whatever his name was, and you got to pay one of them.
Yep.
Unless you have that guy ready to go. They went out and signed Malcolm. Look, I love Malcolm Butler. I'll always love Malcolm Butler. But that was 8 years ago. This ain't the same Malcolm Butler. It's not. And I don't even know who the other guy is, which really scares the hell out of me, because I don't even know who he is on the other corner. And if you're not, you're either going to get a pass rush so he doesn't have time, or you better sit back in a zone and force everything into the middle of the field and pray you can tackle, because you can't cover. When you got a shutdown corner, you know this. When you got a shutdown corner, that changes everything. You can leave a guy on an island and you can go double team somebody else. And now it comes down to the third receiver versus the third cornerback, which is where Belichick is usually at his best. But you have to have a one to do that. And they don't got a one right now. At least that we know of. We don't.
Right.
So that's my problem.
You bring it up Malcolm Butler, though.
Yeah.
Is this the reason why we don't know the story? Because Malcolm always thought there was a chance that he could come back to the Patriots, so he never gave up the reason why he was benched. I personally think somebody got a hold of him and said, you know what, until you're officially out of the league, zip it, because they like to pull their players back every once in a while, and you don't want to burn a bridge.
The story I heard was there was a fight, an argument.
Yes.
Okay. This is where I got mad at Belichick, because he's all about the team first. What you do, because basically he turned Nick Foles into a household name. Nick Foles right now, the only job he can hold in Chicago is sweeping the street. Okay? but they completed on that Super Bowl Sunday, you remember this, that team went 86% on third down. Our best corner was on the sideline because of a verbal argument he had with a defensive coach. If you're all about the team, you find the son of a bitch $100,000, you put him on the field and don't sacrifice the other 44. You win the damn Super Bowl, and then you do something about it in the offseason. You don't sacrifice the entire team on a principle. And if you find him. Find him. You can hit him in the wallet. You can do that. You're the czar. Do it. Bob Kraft ain't going to give a shit. Do it. Okay? But don't bench him for the Super Bowl. Look, if he physically hit the guy, okay, I can buy that.
But it's a Super Bowl.
It's a Super Bowl. He was your best corner. And see, here's the thing. Belichick doesn't owe us one. He owes us two right now. Okay? Because there's that one, and then there's what Brady just did 2 years ago. Now, here's the thing. You better pray Tom Brady don't win it again this year, because if he does, that noose around his neck is going to be real. Whether you like it or not, Sean, okay, it's going to be real. So, and this better not happen again, okay? The bottom line is, the Patriots, this is the other thing. The AFC is loaded.
Yep.
It's loaded. And the Pats are a good team, but it's a loaded conference. If you look at the AFC West is murderer's row. Look at that division. If you take those four teams and stick them in I guarantee all four will make the goddamn playoffs out of a different division. One of them's going to be left out in the cold. But
the other thing, too, the AFC East is not the cakewalk
that it was. Nope.
And don't get me wrong, I have to keep saying this all the time. Mm-hmm. Tom Brady, best athlete ever. Mm-hmm. But for 20 years, the AFC East was a cakewalk, except for a couple times
when the Jets. Yeah.
But then then they came into the ass fumble.
Yes, the butt fumble.
Yeah,
the ass fumble.
So I have to say, I will borrow the line from the show. I do not disagree.
Tom, if you're listening. He didn't do that to you, he did it to me.
Yep.
But he did it to irk you because he knows it irks you. I told him the story.
And I don't know if we're coming up against the clock here.
No, we're not against the clock.
But before things come out, I had something that I brought to the show.
Oh, you did?
I wanted
a surprise?
A surprise, a gift, a donation.
A donation?
A donation. I'd like to.
Okay.
Okay, so I know you specifically asked me on to talk Patriots, so I wanted to bring this shirt in.
Oh, there you go.
And I was hoping at some point, maybe on the original set, you might be able to. I'd like to donate this to the IDD.
Oh, I'll put that on the set.
And then.
Oh, I'll put it on Tom's face.
And then this is my favorite part of it.
Oh, look.
This was my own.
Was that your number in high school?
No, this was when I turned.
Was that Evan?
This is when I turned 40.
Oh, okay.
But I want to officially donate this to the IDD set.
Tom, you don't get to vote on that. But he won't care. Tom won't care.
So,
Tom, by the way, for the record, you know what Tom keeps forgetting to do?
What?
Tom has a Latrell Sprewell, you know what I'm talking about, authentic jersey, and every time he's supposed to bring it down, he forgets. Oh yeah, he's done like, oh, thank you.
There you go.
This is going on the set as a memorabilia, and don't think we won't have him again for a guest, but we will. But anyway,
Hopefully I'll be a guest down on the sack.
you will, absolutely. No,
As you guys all know, but I always tell RJ, his sack is the balls.
The sack is the balls. So lastly now, what we want to do, we always close, and we did it with Pete, and we did it with Mark today. Give me a prediction. Where do you think they fall, and if you think they need, what do you get where they're going to go? Where do you think they're going to fall when the dust settles? Are they in the playoffs? Are they out? And if they get in, what do they need to do to get to where they need to be? Because here's the thing: the AFC is loaded, but the AFC is also going to beat each other up. This is going to come down to the wire with a lot of these teams. There's going to be like 4 or 5 teams fighting for like 3 spots, and I think the Patriots are going to be in that mix the whole season. What do they got to do to not only get back in there, but advance this time?
Okay, so I think what they're going to have to do, I think they're going to drop 2 against Buffalo.
I agree with you, actually.
And then I think we got to run the table on the Jets.
Yep.
And we got to get out from underneath the curse of Miami. I don't care if Miami.
What is that?
I don't care
What
if
the hell
Miami is at a 12-win season or a 2-win season. We have the hardest time going down there.
We do.
So I love my Patriots. Don't get me wrong, but I'm expecting them to drop 2 against Buffalo.
Okay.
And then I'm expecting them to take 2 against the Jets.
Okay.
And I need them
Yeah.
to take 2 against Miami. And then
By the way, you know where they open up?
Miami? Of course. Of course. Yeah. It's like 1,000 degrees.
1,000 degrees.
1,000 degrees at the beginning of September.
Yep.
And then hopefully we'll get them in a blizzard in December.
Yeah.
But then I think what we need to do is we need to beat the teams we're supposed to beat. Without exception.
Yep.
And these, we don't know, because every year there's the bottom of the barrel teams that just decide that they're going to be the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
And those are the teams somehow usually give us a hard time. And we struggle, or sometimes we drop a game against these people.
Yeah.
We can't do that. We have to win every game that we are supposed to win. If we are a favorite, that's an absolute win.
Yeah.
But then we have to take a couple surprises.
Yeah.
We have to take, and what I think, and I think where we're going to end up is I think we're going to have the same record this year.
10-7 again.
I will.
That's what 10-7 last year.
10-7.
Yep.
I think we're going to be 10-7.
10-7.
I think we're going to get in.
Yeah.
And what I want them, I'm an optimist here, and I can see the long game. I do not think that there is a Super Bowl in the near future for the Patriots. I do think Mac has the ability to win a Super Bowl in his career.
Sure.
But I also hope that he has a long career, because it ain't happening this year.
No, probably not.
But what I'd be happy with is if we were at least 10-6 again.
Yep.
And I'd like to see us at least win a playoff game.
Win one.
If we win one,
That's a progression.
I'm going to be happy,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to take everything after that for gravy. But to do that, the offense has to be clicking like we talked about, and the defense has to step their game up.
Yeah.
And we have to, Buffalo's, they're a juggernaut.
They're a juggernaut.
They
are loaded.
I can't even say that Buffalo is one of those games that we're going to steal.
No. Unless there's a nor'easter. There'll always be a nor'easter.
But and I don't have the Pats schedule in front of
We
me
have it right here. I pulled it up. So here's the thing. To his point, you thought 10. All right, now here's the thing. They open up. This isn't easy. At Miami, at Pittsburgh, home for Baltimore, at Green Bay. That's a tough first month. However,
So that's
Green Bay, I think, is going to sink. They lost Devontae Adams. The last time Aaron Rodgers lost his number one was Joey Nelson. He shit the bed the next year.
Aaron Rodgers is a joke. I'm sorry. He is a joke.
If you've watched my episodes, you already know where I am.
Aaron Rodgers is the biggest joke. This guy was supposed to be the greatest thing that's ever come around, and all they've been doing is blowing this guy his entire career.
God.
He won one Super Bowl 100 years ago, and that's all he's ever done.
He's only been to one. He's 1-5 in the NFC title game. He's lost 3 home games in the NFC title game. We talked about this earlier, and he gets a pass for this, and I don't know why. Because they would crush Tom Brady if he did this. And he couldn't beat Jimmy G last year on his own field. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You can't beat Jimmy G on your own field. You're not in Tom Brady's
He wins
class.
these MVPs.
Yeah, and he shouldn't have won it. Brady outplayed him last year.
Yeah, but you know what? He wins these MVPs during the regular season, and then when it comes to the playoffs, no, nothing. I'll take the playoff MVP. You know what the playoff MVP is? That's a Super Bowl.
Exactly. And he's 11-10 in the playoffs, to Sean's point. So you're pushing the choir on this. people that have seen all these shows have seen my frequent rants on Aaron Rodgers, and he's he's spot on with this. I'm sick of hearing about talent. The most important aspect of a QB is not how fast he can move. Okay, it's about his leadership, his accuracy, his guts, his work ethic. It's that. It's not about how mobile he is.
It's about wins.
It's about winning. The number one stat for a quarterback is winning. You know why? Because, and you guys know this, they get way too much of the blame when they lose. They get way too much of the credit when they win. But they're the field judge. They're the coach on the field. That's why they're judged that way.
Can I go on?
Yes, you can.
This is something that needs to come up for a long time.
Go ahead.
We're talking about quarterbacks.
Yes.
And what we just said, what's the most important thing? And really the only thing that counts?
Yeah, winning.
Winning. We're going back old school here for the Patriots here. Doug Flutie. When Doug Flutie came in, that guy, he was written off by every NFL team, and then the Patriots brought him in, and he was still not really the starting quarterback. And then our guy Tony Eason,
I hate him.
Tony Eason, he goes down with an injury towards the second half of that season.
I remember that season.
What happens? Doug Flutie comes in, wins 6 straight games, gets them into the playoffs. They were all ugly wins. They were like 10-6 wins, 12-11 wins. It didn't matter. Doug Flutie found a way to win 6 in a row. I'm banging on the table. I'm getting excited now.
No.
Okay. I've been waiting to get this off my chest for a long time. Doug Flutie gets us into the playoffs. What happens? Raymond Berry decides to put Tony Eason back in, and the quote was, we lost to Miami in the first game, and John Hanna says it's hard to block for a quarterback when he's running around wearing a dress behind me.
I remember this.
And that was it. And Doug Flutie should have started that playoff game.
Yeah.
Tony Eason should have been given a bus ticket out of town.
And by the way, that was not the last time that happened to Doug Flutie. You remember Buffalo?
Because he went up to Buffalo.
The same damn thing. What happened? The Music City Miracle. Remember that game? He won 7 of 8, whatever it was. Yeah. He made the Pro Bowl. Yes, he made the Pro Bowl.
Got cereal.
They bring the quarterback in because he got the big contract, and they end up losing in Tennessee on the Music City Miracle. Doug Flutie should have been starting in that game, and it probably would have never been that close. Buffalo was rolling when they made this decision, and everybody that was. I tell you what, there was a more of an argument about that in Buffalo than when Bledsoe came back and Brady and Bledsoe, who's going to be the starter? We all saw
the writing on the wall.
We did, but it was worse in Buffalo because most people wanted Flutie to start.
Yep.
Most people saying, "What the fuck? He's won 7 out of 8. He made the Pro Bowl. What the hell are you doing?" And by the way, he was passing his numbers were good too. These weren't ugly wins. He looked like, remember, he was up in the CFL breaking all those damn records, and then he came back down. He looked like he was a better quarterback than he was in New England when he did that. Okay, and I'm like, that's another one. No, this happened twice to him.
Yep.
Twice.
Yep.
That's crazy. But yes, I remember that. I remember John Hanna's comment.
Yep.
And for those of you who don't know, John Hanna is still considered in many circles the greatest offensive lineman in the history of the NFL. He was that good. And
tell me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure if I'm right here. Was he the first Patriot to go in the NFL Hall of Fame?
It was either him or Gino Cappelletti.
Okay.
It was one of those two. He was either first or second.
He's right up there, though.
Gino Cappelletti led the NFL in scoring one year.
Hog Hanna.
He was 1 or 2. Yeah. But anyway, he belonged to that. Stanley Morgan, by the way, is up for again. He better get in this time. Stanley Morgan, by the way, still holds the NFL record for average per catch for a career, 19.2.
Wow.
Per catch. Not Jerry Rice, not Randy Moss, not any. And back then they could rip your head off the second you crossed the line of scrimmage, and he did that. He had over 10,000 yards receiving, as good as Michael Irvin, 67 touchdowns, and because the Patriots really had 76 and 85 when he was on both those teams. The 76 team got screwed against the Raiders, by the way, Stabler and that bullshit. Okay, he was on both those teams. Okay, he was a stud. He was a gazelle, the dude, and now he's up again. He better get in this time.
I hope he does.
Sean, he better get in this time. So all right, so you're thinking 10-7, and possibly a first-round win.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. To your point, the schedule starts out pretty tough. I think they can beat Green Bay here. I think Rodgers, to your point, is a fraud, and I think he's going to suffer. By the way, I don't know if you saw the episode. We had a question: who was going to suffer worse? Because Rodgers lost Devontae Adams, Mahomes lost the cheetah to Miami, and Brady lost Gronk to retirement. We were like, which one of those three was going to take it on the chin the most? Tom had Mahomes, but what I said was Mahomes is suffer, but he still has Travis Kelce. He still has weapons. Aaron Rodgers Has nobody. He has nobody. What's he going to do? If that division didn't suck canal water, which it does, that division they're going to win. Because Detroit's in that division. Minnesota who hasn't. Minnesota's just a bunch of. And then Chicago.
Yeah, I mean,
they're going to win that division just because.
Kansas City is still a great team.
They are.
Brady makes superstars out of nobody.
He's won with chicken shit before.
And Rodgers.
So, Rodgers, the last time this happened, there's a fact. Jordy Nelson left. That next year, that might have been the worst year he had. He was not right. This dude, Devontae Adams, might be the best receiver in the NFL. He's better than Jordy Nelson ever was. And because Aaron had to get his $50 million a year. When did Tom ever do that, by the way? Yeah. He loses his the best receiver in football. And Aaron's just going to make everyone around him better. When has he ever done that?
No.
He's never done that.
No, he doesn't make people better.
He doesn't make people better.
He needs good people around him to make, they make him better.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? So we've been talking about, can I talk a little bit about one thing real quick?
Go ahead.
Somebody I think has gotten a free pass this whole time. Our continuing argument going back and forth about Brady leaving here, and it's all Belichick's fault.
Who got the free pass? Me?
No.
Who?
And it is a man I immensely respect.
Who's that?
And he is the savior of this entire region.
Who's
but
that?
Mr. Kraft has gotten a free pass because he is the ultimate decision maker. When that came down to it, he knew he had an issue. Is it going to be his coach or is it going to be his quarterback?
Yeah.
And Mr. Kraft chose his coach.
He did.
Because he could have stepped in and said, okay, because what just happened right down in Tampa Bay right now? Yeah. Brady said he's going to retire because he doesn't want to. He doesn't want that.
Arians out of there.
Yeah. See you later.
Tampa Bay make that mistake.
See you later. Out of here. Take your laptop computer. Wrap around your neck.
Go work in advertising.
And they had he went to the owners and said it's him or
it's me.
Yeah. And guess what? Yeah. They chose the quarterback.
Yes, it is.
Mr. Kraft chose his coach.
Yep.
So everything comes down to is it Brady Belichick, who did what to who, and Mr. Kraft, he doesn't get any of the.
You know what? You're right.
You're absolutely right. But you know what? I don't disagree with him. But it is what it is.
That one was actually good. You slipped that one.
I slipped that one because
Tom, look, he's the savior. It happens. Okay,
he's the savior of this region.
He is. So, what I would say, and I said this before, I don't know if you saw this, but look, at the end of the day, Brady has proven he can win without Belichick. Belichick needs to prove he can win without Brady. Okay, I don't doubt the man can.
It needs to happen.
It needs to happen, and I'm not saying it's going to happen this year. I said 3 years ago. This is year 3. So to me, he's on the. And the worst part about it is Brady might win it again this year, which scares the shit out of me. But the thing is,
and I'll be happy about that because I still enjoy watching.
I love Tom. Tom, after 20 years, earned the right to do whatever he did. Tom Brady did here what I never thought. You and I agree. We never thought to see the Patriots ever be this good, and we never think it'd be a skinny kid from Michigan, California, who come in here and tell Mr. Kraft going to a meeting at 10 o'clock with a bunch of pizza, I'm the best fucking decision ever, and then go out and back it up. That's Larry Bird shit, by the way. That's Larry Bird type shit. And Tom Brady made that call before he was there. He was 4th in the depth chart when he told them that. Yep. Talk about backing up your freaking talk. Okay, that's the definition of it. So, yeah, I want to believe at the end of the day that Bill did the right thing on this, but he's got to win. He's got to win. He's got to win a Super Bowl now because Brady's got one without him. He's got to prove that he was right, because if they never see a Super Bowl again with this guy, he's going to be proven wrong. And this ain't nothing to do with Mac Jones. This ain't Mac Jones' fault. Okay, Mac Jones, I think, can have a great career. Mac Jones could be a Hall of Famer if he stays healthy and keeps ascending. I really believe in the kid, but he's following the ultimate alpha dog. Okay, and he got put in a position because this guy with this year too early versus a year too late, which I usually agree with, but there's an exception to every rule. And even Bill Belichick would tell you there's an exception, and he was looking at it for 20 years. So you got to deliver, and now you got to deliver in a loaded conference, and the best team in that conference is in your division. Yep. Okay, they're in your division, and if you're in this thing, they got to get younger and they got to get faster on defense, or they better go fire with fire, and they better turn this kid loose, Sean. They got to turn this kid loose. If you can't stop Josh Allen, you better be able to go toe-to-toe with him, throw for throw with him. I think Mac Jones has the attitude to do that, and they got to let him do it. Josh McDaniels put kid gloves on this kid when he played it. You don't put kid gloves on a kid from Alabama. All that kid did was play in big games his whole fucking college career. You think he's afraid of the spotlight? Oh, no. Mac Jones lives for the spotlight. He lives for it. And he's not the only one on that roster that thinks like that. Belichick's got to turn this kid loose and go, if I can't stop him, I'm going to damn well outscore him. Because he's got to do it. That's his best. Sometimes your best defense is a good offense. And Brady was the guy that could do this. In fact, Brady beat Josh last year after Antonio Brown had his meltdown and Gronk was out, and he still outdueled him at 44.
Yep.
Okay? Brady's that dude. We knew that already. I think Mac Jones has that mentality. You got to turn the kid loose. So you have no chance against Buffalo if you don't. You don't.
I'm going to go for the hat trick here.
Okay.
I don't disagree.
Somewhere Tom Izzo is breaking stuff right now. Anyway, Sean, it's been a privilege. I'm so glad we got to do this.
It's all mine.
We will do it again, I promise you. When I come back up here for Christmas, we'll probably do a little basketball. We'll do a Bruins thing. We will do this again around the holidays. I'll see him again at some point. We'll figure this out. Christmas time when we come up here. But it was great to have you on the show tonight. He was keeping the seat warm, Tom, for you. Don't worry. Tom always gets nervous.
I'm not ripping butts.
No.
I'm crushing.
He's crushing some Guinness. By the way, a little shameless plug. Little UFO, little Guinness, little shameless plug.
I'm crushing Guinness, but I'm not ripping butts.
Exactly. There you go. Yes. So, by the way, Tom just quit smoking. He's 2 weeks without a cigarette. Oh yeah.
He must have used them all up on the first 2 episodes.
Well, he's a Giants fan. You know he's got a problem. So, but anyway, I thank Sean for being here with us tonight.
My pleasure.
Yeah, I thank Mark, my brother from the same mother. My birthday boy, Pete. Happy birthday again, brother.
Happy birthday.
We are going to be back on Wednesday night. My brother-in-law, John McCosh, is going to be on here. Host, who has me up this year.
Hostess with the mostest.
He's a great guy. Love him to death.
Good cook.
Good, super
Great
cook.
cook.
Super cook. And we're going to talk. We're going to really talk Red Sox. See, I spared you that tonight. This is a feel-good moment. We're not going to do this. We'll talk about them later. Maybe they'll win a game between now and then, I hope. But we're going to talk Red Sox, Patriots again on Wednesday night. Until then, you guys have a great early part of the week. Man up Monday, tipping back Tuesday, and we'll see you on Wet My Whistle Wednesday. From Falmouth, where the air is also crisp. That's Sean Darcy. I'm RJ, the not-so-great Miliaccio. We will see you soon.
See you later.